following is a hockey podcast out of Vancouver and Surrey, British Columbia. It'll only consist of a lot of puck talk and even more BS, or in actual words, banter and satire. Enjoy, and as always, go Canucks go.
Trevor, the sun is shining, okay? It's shining bright. It's going to be a sunny and hot weekend here on the west coast, the best coast of Canada. Please don't be negative today, a.k.a. please don't just bring up what Eliotte Friedman might have brought up on his last podcast. Can we just crack jokes today? Can I tell you a joke?
Of course, man, anytime.
Okay, your mama is so fat.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Locked On Canucks. My name is Trevor Beggs, co-host of Locked On Canucks, and also a Canucks writer over at Daily Hive Vancouver. Before we dive into today's episode, we got to thank you for tuning into Locked On Canucks because it is your Canucks every damn day, okay? Hey, 2 episodes yesterday. Sometimes it's your Canucks twice a day. Anyways, if you haven't done so already, make sure you go subscribe or follow us wherever you listen to podcasts. On top of that, if you want to win 2 tickets to see the Canucks and Los Angeles Kings play at Rogers Arena on Monday, March 25th, we're giving those 2 tickets away. If you want to enter the contest, you got to do 2 things. You got to either subscribe to the YouTube channel or leave us a review, a 5-star review on your favorite podcasting platform. The second thing you got to do is subscribe to the Discord. Link for that is in the bio. Enjoy the conversation with other Canucks fans. Where hey, maybe we're a little raunchier than we are here on Locked On Canucks. Only one way to find out. Join the Discord and enter a chance to win 2 tickets to see the Canucks play. Coming up on today's episode, hey, not all these Canucks are going to be here next year, but let's not talk about that too much. Maybe a little bit, though, okay? Because, again, the drama king himself, Eliotte Friedman, coming out with a report on the 3 Canucks that he believes the Canucks want to sign in free agency in terms of their UFA's lease. So we're going to touch on that, talk about whether they're choosing the right guys or not. We'll also get into a bunch of things in Trevor's notes presented by that guy, Cal Bowen, and we'll also preview the Canucks and Capitals game. But before we get into it, let me introduce my co-host. He is the king of mama jokes. Cal Bowen, how you doing, brother?
King of mama jokes. Maybe we'll start a separate thread on the Discord, okay? The best your mama jokes of all time. Hey, I'm an old man, okay? Back in the day, right, late 90s, early 2000s, I feel as if that was the only joke ever told was a your mom joke. Straight up. Have you ever heard that one about your mom being a vacuum cleaner? Do the math, okay? Kyle Bound, Trevor Beggs, doing our thing. Hit the like button. It really does help us a lot. It's the weekend, and the more likes we get, the closer and closer we get to taking our girlfriends on a double date to Cactus Club, where the bill is like $137, okay? Plus the 30% tip on top of that, because, hey, the West Coast is the best coast. Hey, man, we got to look after our neighbors before we look after the world.
Tip.
Hey, man,
God.
30% tip to a neighbor. You know what I'm saying? Let's help the world out. Anyway, so let's talk about Eliotte Friedman, okay? Again, I got this theory, man. I don't know how much I believe in it, but sometimes I really do. And it's about the East wanting to sabotage the Vancouver Canucks, okay? From the outside. They just need stories. Friedman, why not just spend 10 minutes talking about the game and the breakdown that happened against Colorado a couple days ago when you want to bring up the Vancouver Canucks, okay? You know what I'm saying? Break down the ins and outs. There's a lot more context / there's a lot of other types of storylines you could talk in regards to the Vancouver Canucks. Not just the quote-unquote drama, the what-ifs. But here he is, man, right? Talking about how there's 3 UFAs that the Canucks want to keep, and he even named them. Right before the playoffs are going to start. We just signed Pettersson. You know what I'm saying? More quote-unquote, not drama, but just outside noise. Anyways, can you mention the 3 names that Elliott brought up in regards to, again, the Canucks wanting to keep? And also, can you bring up that quote from Erik Karlsson? Kind of unrelated, but related at the same time.
Yeah, so I mean, the interesting part, Kyle, is you're talking about kind of Friedman stirring things up. Well, things are good in this market. Well, it was funny because when Eliotte Friedman mentioned the 3 UFAs the Canucks are thinking of keeping in his column, he started off by saying, like, God, can't Vancouver, can't you just enjoy the cup run? Why are we discussing their heroic extension? Which, in fairness, didn't seem like it came from Friedman. This seemed very much generated in this market. I mean, we even had a little clip talking about the contract as well. Go check out that episode on the feed, okay? So, yeah, we're contributing to the noise, but it's one thing for Eliotte Friedman to say, oh, Vancouver, just focus on the cup run. Why you talk about the Snorris? Anyways, here are the 3 UFAs Canucks want to keep.
Yeah.
So, Elliott Friedman, man, he knows what he's doing, okay? The drama king himself. So the 3 UFAs that he mentioned that the Vancouver Canucks want to keep or interested in keeping are Teddy Blueger, Dakota Joshua, and Tyler Myers, okay? So that leaves out guys like Ian Cole, Nikita Zadorov, Sam Lafferty, Casey DeSmith. I'm saying that off the top of my head, but those are some of the main UFAs the Canucks would have, aside from the 3 guys that they are reportedly interested in keeping. Now, in terms of the guys that they want to keep, I think, we talked about it before. Early in the season, I kind of lean towards Blueger being the guy. If I had to choose one, I'd keep him. But I think Blueger and Joshua have both been such good fits on this team in the bottom 6. And I think Blueger offensively has slowed down to the point where he might not be as expensive as he was, maybe a couple months ago when he was scoring at a second line rate. Like there's maybe a chance to get Blueger under $3 million. I know you got him under $2 million, 1.9 for this season. Maybe there's a chance I can get Blueger under $3 million. Dakota Joshua, such a good player, but he's so unique, young in terms of free agents at 27 years old, scoring at a 20-goal pace, one of the best hitters in the league, great penalty killer. He's getting $4 million plus. I'm pretty sure he'll get it in wherever he goes.
$4 million plus? Come on, man.
You don't think so?
Maybe
not
way,
in Vancouver.
No
maybe not
no
in
way.
Vancouver.
Okay.
But I think if Dakota Joshua hits the open market, he'll get $4 million easily.
Damn, easily, bro. Easily.
We've seen one hit one in the past.
$4 million. Here you go, buddy. You gotta sprinkle this on top of Joshua's case too. He will stand up for the boys. Like he's that enforcer, quote unquote, that you want on your team because he can do a lot more. And I know the Canucks penalty kill just sucks in general, straight up. It just sucks. But he's definitely one of the better penalty killers on that unit. They've been worse since Joshua has been gone. Anyways, even with Teddy Blueger, you brought up just under $3 million. I mean, I almost swore there, man. I feel as if he wants to stick around, it's got to have to be 2.5. For real. For real, man. Winning environment. Now, Patrick Alvin, not that long ago, brought up Teddy Blueger and then also attached elite 4th-line center, right? I think I'm paraphrasing, but that's the type of energy I heard. And then you just brought up how his numbers and his, what's the word I'm looking for? His stats in general have just kind of diminished over the past month. Well, he got ripped apart from being a part of one of the best lines in hockey, a.k.a. The Joshua injury. And also, just bringing Lindholm in and this whole experiment of him being like the 3rd-line center is getting in his way. It really is. Thus making this point so strong for my end. When Dakota Joshua comes back in a week or a week and a half, please put that line back together. Just put it back together. Let's see if they can rekindle their magic ASAP before you go ahead and take away some of Teddy Blueger's minutes because you want to put Lindholm as the 3rd-line center. You know what I'm saying? Straight up.
It's funny. Lindholm is one of the UFAs I forgot about there. How did I forget about the most expensive one?
Holy! Damn, bro. Lindholm,
I brought up
man.
Sam Lafferty over. I brought up Elias Lindholm, man, and that is not a good sign for Elias Lindholm for you grammar police out there, you grammar police on Friday, man. Unbelievable stuff. Okay, so we talked about the report. The Canucks looking at keeping those 3 UFAs. What do you think about the decision to reportedly, according to the Drama King, keep Tyler Myers or prioritize Tyler Myers over, let's say, Ian Cole or Nikita Zadorov? Thoughts on that?
It's really interesting. And maybe that report / that name came out because out of all those guys, Myers is willing to take the least. He's made a lot of money in his career and he wants to stay in Vancouver. He's a family man. And genuinely speaking, I think he's maybe at a point in his career where he just wants to be on a good hockey team and play in a system where he feels as if he has a good relationship with the coach so he can adapt and adjust when things aren't going right. Remember what happened, after game 4, game 5? This guy and Rick Tocchet, I'm paraphrasing again, but I think this is the truth. They went for a walk and talk, bro. They broke it down. Myers was really struggling. He went right to the coach to try to get fixed, and the next thing you know, he's playing with Carson Soucy, and he kind of saves his NHL career. And I brought this stat up too, okay? Out of all the right-handed defensemen who are available at free agency or maybe available as UFAs, Tyler Myers is second in points as a right-hand defenseman. I think I got that stat from Stat and Dan Riccio. So, bro, the Canucks may have a really tough time replacing him. You know what I'm saying?
I don't really agree with that in the sense that I think
Okay.
Noah Juleson is basically if Tyler Myers is to come back, I don't want to see him in the top 4. Like, I think
Oh, of course,
we'll
of
see how the
course.
playoffs go, but I think you got to shoot higher for that. And that's why
Okay.
when you look at, putting this team together, I think finding another solid upgrade in terms of your second pairing right shot defenseman is a priority for this team. Like, the defense cohesively, they've been playing great. They've been playing better. Tyler Myers looked a lot better. But to me, I both see Tyler Myers and Noah Juleson as bottom pairing right shot defenseman. So I think it's kind of one or the other. And Noah Juleson's the guy who signed for next year on the cheap. So, yeah, I don't think it should be a high priority to bring Myers back. I mean,
no, I didn't say that. I just feel like there might be a replace. It might be tough to replace a right-hand defenseman who can still put up like 30 points. Like if they want that guy still on their team versus Noah Juleson, who's going to put up 4 points and blah, blah, blah. That's why I see Alvin kind of noting him as, Elliott Friedman noting him as a player that the Canucks would rather keep. Now, would I rather have Noah Juleson over Tyler Myers? It's really funny how a couple days ago I'm saying that, and I'm saying that happily. But what happened with Noah Juleson a couple games ago? Trevor Beggs, what's the stat? What's the stat? And who's in the lineup on Saturday? Straight up. And who's not? Noah Juleson on the ice for what? 4 Avalanche goals?
Yeah.
And boom, just like that, Myers is replacing him.
Yeah, and I think that's an argument to keeping Myers around and having them battled out. But I guess where I stand on Myers is, we talk about taking, he's not going to come back at $6 million, obviously, but he's not going to come back in $1 million either. You're probably paying this guy close to $3 million, I think.
Damn, come on,
So
take 2 million. Take 2 million, bro. Come on, bro.
We'll see. He could get more. It depends on how much he wants to stay here, but I think it's gonna be in the neighborhood of kind of that 2.5 to 3 million.
How come we've gone 12 minutes doing this UFA ramble and we haven't talked about Big Zadorov yet, man? Are you still a Big Z hater? Or are you just scared of the dollar amount that this guy no, Big Z has a lot of swag, and you can already tell that this guy thinks he's better than he is, which is kind of needed for him to play the way he wants to play, thus equating to the impossibility of this guy getting paid under $4 million. Like, he's going after that big deal, right? And that's why you're kind of not touching the subject of resigning Nikita Zadorov.
Yeah, and I talked about Zadorov on yesterday's show a little bit as well. The most interesting guy on the Vancouver Canucks, right?
True.
And a Big Z hater. I know you gave me a bit of a hard time for that, but he's an imperfect player, and I just don't think it makes sense for the Canucks to sign him because reports from Dhaliwal and his agent are that he wants 5-6 years, over $4 million. Why would the Canucks pay that? Why? He's a fun player. Don't get me wrong, but the Canucks cannot be the team to pay this guy. $24 million on a 5-year deal. You know what I mean? Or 6-year deal.
Yeah.
So,
He's
I
not.
don't think that makes sense.
He's not consistent enough outside of all the personable things that this guy does. Like, yeah, it's nice to see this guy skate through the neutral zone, do his thing. It's nice to see this guy be really physical, stand up for the boys. It's really nice. It's refreshing, man. Bro, this guy challenged Josh Manson off the draw after Manson almost killed JT Miller. I was mentioning this yesterday too on a short, man. Bro, if that was Austin Matthews who almost got murdered by Josh Manson, is that his name, or is it Charles Manson? I don't know what his name is. Anyways, if the roles were reversed, bro, I'm telling you, they're coming out with that show, Law and Order Toronto. I'm telling you, bro, if that was Austin Matthews, that would be an episode. Season 2. Straight up, man. It's a joke, man. What a joke. The NHL referees are a joke, man. Real talk. Do they know who JT Miller is? Nikita Zadorov did. And look what he did. I got a lot of respect for Zadorov, but again, I know the dollar amount is scaring you away. This being said, I'll throw this out there. If the Canucks go on a deep playoff run, Big Z is going to look sexy in that run, if you know what I mean.
Big sexy Z. Well, let's talk about baby Big Z a little bit on the other side. We got a lot of things to touch on. Hey, jam-packed Friday here on Locked On Canucks. Trevor's Notes presented by Kyle on the other side. Before we get to that, we got to shout out a beloved sponsor, okay? And the beloved sponsor today that I'm shouting out is Robinhood. All right. Our friends over at Robinhood, they help you out with your finances, okay? Robinhood, do you even know that if you have a 401k for retirement, you can still have an IRA? Robinhood has the only IRA that gives you a 3% boost on every dollar you contribute when you subscribe to Robinhood Gold. But get this. Now through April 30th, Robinhood is even boosting every single dollar that you transfer in from other retirement accounts with a 3% match. That's right. No cap on that 3% match. Robinhood Gold gets you the most for your retirement thanks to their IRA with a 3% match. This offer is good through April 30th. Get started at robinhood.com/boost. Subscription fees apply. And now for some legal info. Claim as of Q1 2024, validated by Radius Global Market Research. Investing involves risk, including loss. Limitations apply to IRAs and 401ks. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold for 1 year from the date of the first 3% match. Must keep Robinhood IRA for 5 years. The 3% matching on transfers is subject to specific terms and conditions. Robinhood IRA available to U.S. customers in good standing. Robinhood Financial LLC member SIPC is a registered broker and dealer.
Man, we're going to have a lot of fun tonight in Vancouver, all my real fans.
People. We back talking about your Vancouver Canucks of the future? Of the future? What are we doing, bro? Why aren't we spending more time talking about the game tomorrow, the Canucks of today, talking about the UFAs? This is what happens, man, when we just listen to Eliotte Friedman. Unreal, man. Come on, man. Come on. What did Erik Karlsson say about Eliotte Friedman again? I'm all over the place. You know, I have so many call to actions to give the people right now, but I don't want to talk about that. Okay, can you bring up that quote again, Trevor?
Yeah. So for background, Eliotte Friedman did say in one of his articles, his 32 Thoughts columns, that it was purely speculation, but he wondered if Erik Karlsson could be reunited with the Ottawa Senators because of Daniel Alfredsson, blah, blah, blah. So Karlsson was asked about this by reporters, and he said, yeah, that's Canada for you. I played there for a long time, so I kind of know how that game works. They've got a lot of things to talk about every day to fill a lot of airtime, but they only have few things to actually discuss.
Ooh.
Well, I feel like he's taking a shot at Locked On Canucks here, man. Come on, you're a team every day, but it's all good because it's your Canucks every day, so it's different, okay?
It's a little different. Hey, speaking of Locked On Canucks and it being your Canucks every day, how about your Canucks every minute, okay? Sign up for the Discord. Link is in the bio. If you do so, you enter a contest, man. We're giving away 2 tickets to a Canuck game on March the 25th against the Kings. We'll announce the winner next Friday. Speaking about your Canucks, Trevor, man, taking a bunch of notes in regards to that team you love. And, you know, that's what happens when you have a couple quote-unquote off days or non-game days. Anyways, let's run it. Trevor's Notes brought to you by Kyle. All right, Trevor's Notes brought to you by Kyle, sponsored by Stiffs, okay? Stiffs, do the math. It's not a sponsor yet, but one day it will be, okay? Anyways, let's go off the top, okay? Tyler Myers likely back on Saturday, playing with Carson Soucy. I guess my question to Trevor is, how much do you like this, and what do you expect from a different Ian Cole than we had earlier in the season and Nikita Zadorov being a pairing?
Yeah, I'm curious to see it. I mean, I think it worked well in a bottom role. And when I look at the Canucks depth chart, you know, my first instinct is like, oh, Carson Soucy and Tyler Myers are the second pairing. But really the way it's worked for the Canucks, and shout out to the everydayers, they know this, we've talked about it. The Canucks have a top 2 and a bottom 4. It's not really a top 4 and a bottom pairing, right? So, you know, when you look at, I'm curious to see how the minutes are divvied up, especially with Juleson out of the lineup, because when Juleson was in, as good as he's been, Zadorov and Juleson was kind of that third pairing, but with all 4 of these veterans in the lineup, I feel like it's going to be more of a top 2 and a bottom 4. So I'm curious to see how they do. I mean, like I said, Myers and Soucy were really good early in the season against some pretty soft competition. So that being said, we'll talk about it to wrap up the show. But, you know, the Canucks got, you know, the Capitals, the Sabres, the Canadiens, and the Flames over the next 4 games. None of them are playoff teams. Although Buffalo, they're kind of rolling right now, but
our cousins.
But yeah, none of those teams scary at the end of the day. So I think it's a good way for Myers to get eased back into the lineup. And, you know, Soucy, he's been a rock, man. We talked about it earlier this week. Go check out that episode as well if you haven't already.
We jinxed Soucy, man. We jinxed Soucy. And we also jinxed Filip Hronek, too. Did you notice that? We dedicated an episode to Soucy, and Soucy threw the puck over the glass at the end of the game. And then we talked about Hronek, you know, just pay this guy $7 million. Make him happy, keep him with Hughes, blah, blah, blah. And what did he do? Lindholm wins a face-off on a 5-on-3, gets it to Hronek, and Hronek passes it right to Cale Makar. Next thing you know, it's 3-2. Bro, the jinx was something else. Anyways, let's continue with these notes. How about this one, man? This is a big one. Brock Boeser talking about the 2020 playoffs and referring to the fact that technically they weren't the playoffs. Again, I'm paraphrasing just a bit, but not really. Begsy,
No.
this makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so this was a quote from after practice yesterday, and I'll read the quote from Brock Boeser here. He was asked about starting to view games through a playoff lens, and Boeser said, I think we're at the point, for sure, I think we're at that point. Colorado is a team that knows how to play in the playoffs, and we can't make mistakes like those. And then he says, I mean, I haven't played technically in the playoffs, but there are guys in that room that talk about it and the details. And you've got to be invested in winning those puck battles. So, I mean, a main reason why this quote caught my attention is because we talked about it a couple of times recently. Had an episode on it earlier this week, looking back at the 2020 playoffs.
Yeah,
we kind of said, it did toe the line between being real. They were meaningful games, but it's just a little different when you're in a stadium with no people in a bubble in Edmonton or Mars or wherever they were. But for Boeser to come out and say that, I haven't actually technically played in the playoffs, they kind of tend to catch my attention because it's like, based on the stat sheet, they were in the playoffs and they almost made it to the conference final based on a goal that Boeser almost scored against Robin Lehner in the Vegas Golden Knights. So interesting to see how Boeser and them viewed in that room. I mean, I guess this team is looking at it like they haven't really been in the playoffs, which is interesting.
Bro, come on, man. Across sports, man. Like, not to bring up the NBA, but I'm going to bring up the NBA. Like, a lot of people don't remember the Lakers winning a championship. You know what I'm saying? With LeBron James. On the same year, Kobe passed away. Like, think about that. That's how nonchalant people feel about those playoffs in sports around that time. Because the truth is, the playoffs have so much to do with the crowd, and in Boeser's case, and in this case specifically, momentum. And he was bringing up the tangibles within the game. They had a 3-0 lead, and they took the foot off the pedal. And what happened? They allowed a really experienced team to feel themselves, and they could feel it on the ice that Colorado was smelling blood. They were smelling blood at 3-1. And the Canucks kind of crumbled. They didn't want to compete. They wanted to just get the game over with, which was weird and sad, but it happens to an inexperienced team. Boeser, in my eyes, he hasn't really played in the NHL playoffs yet. Trevor, I'm going to bring up another note that you wrote down, but I want to bring this up first, okay? The other EP40, playing in Abbotsford. I don't think it's possible for him to play with the Canucks in October next year. But I don't know, man. Maybe I could see it at some point in the season after he gets, used to playing, a handful of games this season and early next season on North American ice in Abbotsford.
I mean, the Canucks are really high on this kid, right? And you can kind of see why based on the World Juniors. I thought there were moments where I thought he was, their best defenseman out there. And that was on a team that included Willander. Just, again, really rock solid, physical, kind of a throwback defenseman. He seems like the kind of player that we expected Jet Wu to be or told Jet Wu would be. And then it didn't really kind of materialize that way. So, yeah, really curious to see this guy in Abbotsford play. Maybe I'll pop down there for a game or two. But maybe I'll rip through two other notes quickly because the Canucks, the baby Canucks have been making moves. Again, DPD is in Abbotsford. Should play some games down the stretch. They also signed Christian Felton out of the University of Michigan. I don't have it in front of me, but they signed a 24-year-old defenseman, Christian Felton. He has 7 points this season in the NCAA. Definitely a defense first guy. So one of our comments, I think it was Callum Sandu, talking about how this guy's the next Tanev. I think Cole McWard is still more of the next Tanev than Christian Felton. He really just profiles as an AHL depth guy. And the third thing they did is they traded Quinn Schmiemann to the Syracuse Crux for future consideration. So moves on the D in Abbotsford to make some room for DPD and Christian Felton.
Moves on the D, man. Dude, that's Trevor's motto right there, man. Straight up. Okay, last note. Garland and Hronek getting into it. Boom, bam. At practice. Intense. I kind of like you, man. I'm not going to front, okay? The Canucks, winners of 4 straight. Then they blow a game against the Avalanche. They still pick up a point. They're still climbing up the standings. And what happens the next day at practice? Frustration. It shows accountability. It shows that this team likes to compete and they love winning games. And what they hate doing is blowing games, okay? Straight up. I like the brouhaha that happened between these two. Now, there wasn't no film of this, but again, just the thought of it and the fact of it is a beautiful thing. Begsy, do you want to touch on this before we get to the third segment?
Yeah, it's really quick. It's interesting that it's Garland involved because he was involved in the practice scrap with Dakota Joshua earlier in the year. sounded like he had a tough day of practice. Took a high stick from Zadorov before this scuffle with Hronek. So I was kind of wondering, like, maybe he went to Hronek. He's like, speak to the media. Come on. Why do I always have to do it?
Oh, okay.
I just want to know what was said between the two of them. But yeah, no, it's fine. Like, again, a little feistiness. You love it.
Maybe Hronek was like, yo, like maybe Connor Garland found out that Hronek wants to make a little bit more than Quinn Hughes. And Garland was like, dude, that's not what championship teams do.
Yeah, maybe, man. Yeah, what was said between Garland and Hronek? Wrong answers only. I mean, maybe Hronek did it because he saw that scrap in Detroit the other day. Ben Sherrod and Lucas Raymond got into it at practice too. So
that's what I'm saying. Like different scenarios. Like Detroit is way more desperate for points. They got, they're like Buffalo's catching up to them. They just got their ass kicked by Buffalo. There's more of like a reason to have so much frustration. Whereas the Vancouver Canucks, winners of 4 or 5, still got a point against a really good team, are going into a practice just not satisfied, not happy. And again, when I put that into the equation, I still feel as if the Canucks have a good chance to get to June because, bro, the season really matters for a bunch of really good players and Rick Tocchet and company. And bro, the road to June is still on the horizon, man. I think this team doesn't view themselves as a team that lacks experience or a team that's like the 6th best team in the Western Conference when it comes to cup odds. I think they really believe in themselves and they hold themselves up to a really high standard, like we do. Okay. Okay. Locked on Canucks off the top. I got to say sorry to Trevor because I made your mama joke. I called your mama fat. Again, I'm antsy. Okay. No Canucks games tonight. I don't know what to do. And I took it out on you. I'm sorry.
That's okay, man. I wasn't great to you earlier in our relationship, so I gotta come in sometimes, man.
Mm-hmm.
But that's all right because we're here doing this Locked On Canucks, your Canucks every day. Let's wrap up the show, talk a little bit about the Canucks and Caps of the weekend, and maybe we'll give wrong answers only for what we're doing this weekend.
Okay.
Wrapping up the show on the other side here on Locked On Canucks. But before we do that, let's shout out our friends at Ibotta. You know what? Inflation, let me tell you. Grocery bills are so expensive these days, but now they don't have to be. Start getting cash back on your grocery shopping with the free Ibotta app and get cash back every time you shop. Ibotta is a free app that gives you the most cash back every time you shop on hundreds of items, from groceries to beauty supplies. Kyle, I need those, to toys as well. So you can make sure that you're beating inflation. Beat that inflation. Let's go. No matter what you're purchasing. The average Ibotta user earns $256 per year. That could cover the cost of an entire shopping trip. So you can buy that flight you've been eyeing, that Canucks ticket you've been dying to get, or that fancy dinner you've been craving. Cactus Club with a 30% tip. Okay, let's go. Join over 50 million users and earn cash back every time you shop with over 2,700 branded retailers to choose from. Right now, Ibotta is offering our listeners $5 just for trying Ibotta by using code LOCKEDONNHL when you register. Just go to the App Store or Google Play Store and download the free Ibotta app to start earning cash back and use code LOCKEDONNHL. Did you hear me? That's IBOTTA in the Google Play or App Store and use code LOCKEDONNHL.
We back doing this, talking about your Vancouver Canucks, Kyle Ballin, Trevor Beggs, the second best dad in the world, doing our thing and giving you free tickets to Canucks games. Maybe, right? Maybe you're going to win it. Who knows? Enter the contest. Join the Discord. Link is in the bio. Again, we're giving away 2 tickets to that March the 25th game against the LA Kings. We'll announce the winner next Friday. We'll do it live, either on the Discord or on the show. I got to figure out how to do that, but we'll do it live. Make sure it's done all right. And I can't wait, man. I can't wait to see the smile on the people's faces. Who knows? Maybe I'll be at the game with them. Who knows, man? Who knows? Unreal. Anyways, let's get to the comments. Oh, go ahead, Trevor.
I was just saying, maybe, yeah, we should do that, man. I'm living the bachelor life that week.
You never know, man. You never know. We might be at the game with them, man. Who knows? A lot of news coming out next week. Okay. Anyways, let's get to the comments before we talk about tomorrow's game against the Capitals. Look at Canucks Clay or Canuck Clay. So much handsome on one show. Hope you guys are well. I've said this many times, man. When the Canucks win the Stanley Cup, dude, I'm down to sign like a petition to get Clay's name on the cup. Okay? For real, man. For real. Why not, man? Why not? Lefty talking about Garland and Hronek fighting because they were arguing about which one's beard. Who has the better beard? Could be the
it's Hronek for sure.
Look at JS, man. Go Canucks, go. Thanks for the super chat. And Callum asking who we're playing on Saturday, man.
Oh, let's
Ooh,
talk about
Callum
it, man.
San
Let's
dude,
talk
man.
about it. Yeah, we're playing the Washington Capitals, who they've been all over the place. They're technically still in the playoff race right now, but they've just been so up and down of late. I mean, they won their last game against Seattle 2-1. That was on the second night of a back-to-back. But the night before that, they got thumped 7-2 by the Oilers. It's just been up and down. They lost to the Jets before. They beat the Blackhawks. They smoked the Penguins, but they lost to the Coyotes and the Flyers. Like, they've just been an up and down team. They led in 8 goals against the Red Wings recently. So it's some nights they score 6 goals. They look great. Some nights they led in 7 or 8 goals. They look terrible. So it's hard to know what to expect from this team. It's not a fantastic hockey team, but yeah, like I said, they're still in that wild card race. Like they're 1 point out of the last wild card spot.
Damn, so they got something to play for. Tomorrow's game's going to be a good
something
one.
to play for. Yeah, they got something to play for. They're hungry. And Ovechkin said it best. I think he was asked about matching up against McDavid and Draisaitl. He's like, don't worry. We got Connor McMichael and Hendricks Lapierre. And then they lost 7-2 to the Edmonton Oilers. So,
Ovi cracking jokes, man.
In terms of like how these teams have matched up recently, the Canucks beat the Capitals 3-2 in overtime, right? JT Miller getting that overtime winner. But they lost their 3 games to the Capitals before that. But this is a different Capitals team, not as dangerous as they've been before. But like you said, Kyle, they're playing for something. Can't take them lightly. I think the Canucks, again, they've gotten points in 5 straight games, but over these next 4 games against inferior teams, you got to, pick up the majority of points here, I think.
What are you looking for specifically, though, in these 4 games? Because, again, I think we were getting used to / appreciating the way this team was playing defense over the last 4.5 games. Real talk, 4.5 games. They were playing pretty solid defensively. That being said, I think it's a given that they can do that against the next 4 teams coming up if they work hard. They just don't take any shifts off. They can do that. That being said, I do want to see an uptick in swagger when it comes to their 5-on-5 play offensively. And on that note, please, bro, Trevor, you're going to a game soon. I know you're going to a game soon to report, to be a reporter. Okay, please put JT Miller back on the left half wall on the power play. Please. I want to see both those things happen again. Dynamic 5-on-5 offense and a power play that's back to being normal, aka back to being efficient, aka back to just being driven by JT Miller touching the puck a lot, okay? And Quinn Hughes. Begsy, I just said a lot there. Am I making a lot of sense?
Yeah, well, I'll try to get JT Miller back on the half wall, buddy. As a part-time reporter, I'm sure I have the power. What I want to see from the Canucks, I see where you're coming from, Kyle, but for me, it's closing out games. And they did such a good job of that against the Kings, the Jets, and the Knights. And then they really faltered against the Avalanche. So I just want to see the Canucks get back to playing shutdown hockey in the third period, which isn't the sexiest thing to say. But I feel like the Canucks in so many of their games over the last couple weeks have come out really strong. And then, maybe haven't been as good in the third period. So I just want to see them play some, good old shutdown hockey here. Help Casey DeSmith out, okay? You don't have your starting goaltender in. Give this guy some support. Don't leave him out to dry for 17-3 being outshot in the third period.
No, 100%, man. It's a lot of things. I want to see a lot, and you pretty much ignored my problem with the Canucks power play right now. It's okay. Maybe I'm just crying about the wrong things, okay? I know they scored a goal against the Jets, blah, 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 but I really don't see the Canucks being dangerous offensively if they don't make that switch back to having JT Miller where he's supposed to be on the power play. For a full season, you see Nathan McKinnon where he's at on the power play. You know what I'm saying? You see Leon Draisaitl where he's at on the power play. I just don't get how the Canucks have one of the worst power plays in the league post All-Star break, and they haven't consistently put JT Miller back where he's supposed to be. It's so confusing. And Trevor, I know you're going to a game soon, like I said, okay? When you're at the game and you have a microphone in front of Rick Tocchet's face and that move hasn't been made yet, do it for the people and ask him why he's reluctant to put JT Miller back to a place where he's been so prominent and so efficient. Look back what happened before the All-Star break. There was a game against Columbus. The Canucks were down a lot of goals. They got a lot of power plays in the third period. Where was JT Miller? What did the power play do? You know what I'm saying? I don't get why JT Miller is not playing where he's supposed to be playing. Anyways, Kyle Bow and Trevor Beggs doing our thing. Frosty saying that I want to be touched. No, come, we're not reading that comment, okay? I just want JT the puck more, okay? We also had a funny comment from a Canuck player. Okay? Last season taken 15 years ago, and now Canuck Clay is broke 15 years later. Hey, man, it's not about the money. It's about the moments. That investment that you made, it's priceless, okay? Straight up, straight up, straight up. Begsy, you want to say anything else before we sign out?
Wrong answers only. What are we doing this weekend? For me, it's my daily ball scrub on Saturday. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Okay, clean it. You got to be clean. You got to be clean,
Yeah,
man.
once
People
a
are
week.
not
Once a week, you know?
Yeah, like a real proper ball scrub,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
Straight up. You know what I'm doing? I'm DJing at Fortune Sound Club. Straight up. Oh, that you said wrong answers only? Okay, I'm DJing.
Yeah, no, that's actually happening though. You humble brag, man.
No.
Flex down. Flex
Wrong answers
down
only.
with the humble brag. Wait. You're doing it with your shirt off, right?
No. It's been it's not that time right now. It's not the summer, okay?
Yeah.
It's not the summer. Wrong answers only. Okay, maybe JT Miller will make a cameo and he'll play a set too. Straight up. Crazy. Anyways, join the Discord again. We're giving away 2 tickets to a Canuck game. All you got to do is subscribe to the channel, leave us a podcast review, and more importantly, join the Discord, okay? Straight up. It's a party down there. And one left to Fortune Sound Club, man. It's going to be a good time tomorrow. Anyways, Begsy, sign us out.
All right, you beautiful people. Shout out to the everydayers, occasional listeners, first-time listeners, new subscribers, and those of you who join us here on the live YouTube feed. And hey, those of you who sign up for the Discord as well. You're doing it for the free tickets, but hopefully you're going to stick around for the Canucks conversation, baby. Hey, no matter who you are, what you do, we love each and every one of you. We appreciate you tuning in. The show is nothing without you, okay? Have a great weekend. Again, going into next week, Canucks got some easier competition. One thing we might do, we talked about with the free agents today. I don't know if, Kyle, this is too negative for you, but maybe let's look at the cap situation again. Now that Pettersson's been re-signed, what does it look like next season, okay? I also want to talk about the Canucks and their chase for first in the Western Conference as well. Hopefully they can get some dubs next week. But whether it's wins, losses, whatever it is, we got you covered here on Locked On Canucks. So for now, though, I'm Trevor Beggs. That guy is Kyle Bowen. And you've been listening to Locked On Canucks.
Go Canucks, go. Respect the game, appreciate the game, and watch the game, okay? Where am I going with this? I'm trying to be a poet. Peace.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team